undisputed queen of soca by fans worldwide. She has performed throughout the world, including the US, Europe, Canada, and the Caribbean. And most recently, Ghana. I think last year, Ghana as well. She has won numerous awards and rave reviews everywhere she goes. And so thank you so much for joining us, Alison.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. I'm very, very happy to be a part of this, and I can't wait to get started.
And our special guest from the US is none other than Tim Kubart.
Hey!
Tim is a 2016 Grammy award-winning singer for children's music. He's originally from Long Island, New York. I'm also from Long Island, Strong Island.
Strong Island.
And he and his band, the Space Cadets, have actually been here in BIM throughout the whole week. They've been performing at different schools and BCC and UE, and they performed at Copacabana yesterday, and they brought down the house. It was amazing. And now they are joining us today. So first we're going to have Tim, and then later on we'll have the other members. So stay around for that. And so without further ado, I give to you Alison and Tim.
Hi.
Hello. Alison, it's a pleasure to meet you. I listen to some of your music. Incredible. I've seen your work. Just it's an honor.
Thank you. And I've done the same with you. I went and checked out your stuff, and I really like it a lot.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
No problem. So tell me, Tim.
Yes.
Where did you get your start? Like, how did you get into music? Was this something that was from a kid, coming up, or, how did you really get involved?
How I first started to love music was school. That I was lucky to go to a public school on Long Island, New York, that had a great music program. I learned the recorder in the 2nd grade. I started playing the saxophone in the 4th grade. I found my people. I found the music nerds, and I was loving being in band. I was loving being in marching band. I was the leader of my high school marching band. And then eventually, you get into what's going on in MTV and things like that. So you want to learn how to play the guitar and all that stuff. So I had a high school band, which we don't need to talk too much about, but it was called 7 Day Weekend. And so I was a musician playing in different bands and things like that. But then when I was in college, I went to a Jesuit school in New York City, and part of a Jesuit education is service work. So I was taking a class where part of it you needed to, they gave a list of places where you can do service work. And I picked a shelter for women and children who were experiencing homelessness. And I was taking care of kids in the nursery, and I was helping them with snack and reading stories and things like that. And the director of the shelter found out that I played the guitar and asked me to come and play for the kids. And I said, oh, I don't know any kids songs. And he said, well, learn some kids songs. So I learned The Wheels on the Bus, and I wrote a few songs, and I showed up and I started playing for the kids there. And eventually I realized that my favorite time of the week was the 2 times I went to this shelter. And I thought, oh, maybe this is my path, and this is where I can go. So I went headfirst into children's music right there. I decided at the age of 19, this is what I was going to do. And then worked very, very hard trying to piece together something that could be a career.
Wow, that's very awesome. I like the fact that you are very into service, into community service, and just giving, because to me it's not about giving back. It's just giving. Like, you're giving of yourself, you're giving of your talent, you're giving of your time, and people don't realize how easy it is to kind of do that, just to help for an hour or two, out of the day.
Absolutely. I mean, they say to get self-esteem, you should do esteemable acts. So to do that kind of stuff, sometimes it's even selfish a little bit. It's like, oh, I feel like I'm contributing to the world that I'm in. So when you do that, that's when I feel like a real connection. And helping out in service work, but then also being up on stage is when you can really feel a real connection as well.
Absolutely. I can definitely identify with that, because when I hit the stage, that's when like, and it's not like I'm not alive otherwise, but when I'm on the stage, I am
Yeah.
truly alive because I love entertaining people. I love making people smile, and that's what music does. Music transforms, and it takes you into another place and in another world, and um it gives you those, those good, those happy endorphins that
Oh,
just
for sure. I mean, this week has been an absolute dream here in Barbados. That my band and I, we haven't been able to get up on a stage and play for people in 7 months, and to be able to do that here with the incredible energy of this island has been an absolute blessing. Being able to go to some of the primary schools in St. Michael, St. Lucie, and St. Andrew, and meet the kids there, and be able to have that kind of connection as well, and to be able to do some programming as well here that we're able to play some of our songs, but then also talk about musical terms like improvisation, and being able to bring tap dance to them as well. We'll meet our tap dancer in just a little bit, and then also meeting some of the college students here at BCC and the University of the West Indies, and to be able to talk to them about what it's like to build a career as an artist, which is definitely another step here in as we celebrate entrepreneurship. I would say that that music is the best thing in the world when you get to do it. And if you want to be able to do it a lot, you have to build a career as an entrepreneur and realize that there's kind of a day job aspect to it as well.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's some of what we're here to talk about, to talk to anybody that's interested, any young and up and coming artists, musicians, dancers, anyone that wants to be in the arts. Traditionally in Barbados, I won't say the arts are looked down upon, but it's not seen as serious as, say, working in a bank, or doing an office job, let's say a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's good that we're getting this opportunity to be able to give some of our knowledge and our experience as to what goes into creating a contract, what should be in it, what are the things in terms of your writer, your backstage writer, your stage stuff, given these little tips and these little inside things as to, because there's a lot of stuff that an up and coming artist would not be aware of, that they just don't know. And here in Barbados, there isn't a lot that's in place to help artists to learn about, okay, this is what you need to know, this is what to expect, this is how you conduct the business side of show business. People see the show,
yes, for sure,
then the business part of it is, my dog is trying to get into the
Well, I often say that I perform for free, and what costs money is everything else that
You're absolutely correct.
We got here, we have all the equipment we need, we know what we're going to do. Like, that is the job. We sent over our press kit, we built the press kit, and we sent it over, doing all that stuff. That's the job. And then the reward is you get to play.
Correct. Absolutely correct. So tell me about, and tell everyone about how you were able to monetize what you do, because that's a big deal in the Caribbean. Even for myself as an artist, as much as I have done, as many places as I have toured, as much music as I have created, one of the problems is monetizing, especially monetizing from the Caribbean, because a lot of the platforms don't recognize the Caribbean in terms of like truly monetizing your YouTube channel and your Spotify streaming and all that kind of stuff. So take me through that.
Sure. I mean, still in the world that we are in, which unfortunately the past 7 months has been very difficult, but the way that I mostly have monetized is by playing live. That when I was 19, 20, like I didn't have any content. I didn't have any albums. There was nothing I could make money off of. So I just started playing as much as I could. And as a children's musician, that meant playing at play centers and getting together 5 or 6 moms or nannies or dads who wanted to come on Wednesdays at 10 in the morning and pay $15. I'm going to show up. So I spent about 8 years of my life playing music for kids and families about 7 days a week. And yeah,
I can identify.
It was classes Saturday and Sunday. It was birthday parties, and over 8 years, I played over 400 kids' birthdays. And
Wow.
And I would say from doing that, I mean, one thing was I was just trying to make rent. I also was beyond that, I was trying to save a certain amount of money every month because I knew I wanted to make my own things. And that's normally the biggest hurdle, I think, is to be able to save the kind of money that you can start doing this yourself, that you have something to show. And that's normally doing as many odd jobs as you can. Luckily, in children's music, there is kind of a day job thing to it that you can do. You can do classes, you can do birthday parties, and try to find those things, which is a business on its own. But I am so grateful for those 8 years that I played 7 days a week, because it also taught me the language that I say now, that it taught me the way that I perform for kids and families, the way that I can do my best to hold a 4 and 5-year-old's attention for an hour.
Which is, listen, more power to you, because sometimes parents can't hold, a 4 or 5-year-old's attention.
Well, I spent about a decade
5 minutes
figuring out a 1-hour thing that holds attention, and it works not all the time. Luckily, it worked really well this week.
That's good, you see.
But I think then that helped me find my voice as an artist as well, and to be able to find the way that I play children's music. But monetize, I mean, I still, when the world opens up again, or even just now doing live streams, I do things for, luckily I'm here doing this, but also a lot of the places that I play, like libraries and things like that, they have funding. So I would reach back out to them and say, would you like me to put together a live concert for you over Facebook? And is there any are there any funds for that? Can you bring it on over? And realizing that you have worth, and asking, and maybe someone's not reaching out to you, but also reaching out and saying, hey, I'm available to do these things. I do come at a cost, but I normally, if I'm reaching out, the cost will maybe lower a little bit.
Right.
But to be out there and trying to find that work, then monetizing the content that you make is very difficult. It's very difficult to do, and I still struggle with it. But the first thing to do is to realize that your work does have worth, and to make sure that you sit down at a computer and you do the work to figure out all the ways it needs to be registered. I mean, in the States, there's ASCAP and BMI. I know there's a songwriting registration as well in the Caribbean.
Yeah, we have COSCAP in Barbados.
COSCAP, that's right.
Yeah.
And making sure it's registered there, but also talking amongst other artists and making sure that the radio stations and the TV networks that are playing these things are actually reporting that these things are being played, because there is money there to be found.
Right.
I've been very lucky in my career, to be honest, that I am played a lot on Sirius XM radio, and that is covered by a different company, which I think is worldwide. It doesn't fall under songwriting; it falls under who owns the masters. So who owns the masters and who is the artist? And registering for Sound Exchange, they pay very well. I mean, it's not, not buy a mansion well, but it's pay your 1-bedroom apartment rent well.
There you go.
And that's huge.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, for sure. And if you can pay your 1-bedroom apartment by making music that you love, that's very exciting. They do a very good job, soundexchange.com, that even if you're an artist and you think maybe this has been played somewhere, I would go to soundexchange.com and register as someone who as a recipient, if you're an artist or if you're a copyright owner, and then they have a really great database that you search your name or you search the name of a song, and they'll let you know if it's played. And if it's in this database, that means there's money there for you. So I would definitely go there just to make sure. And then those types of, like the Sirius XM, the satellite radio, the way I started playing there was I sent my CD a few times there, and they even told me they threw it in the trash a few times. But I said it a couple times, and one of the times it worked. They said, "This looks interesting. We'll give this a try." And it was that song "Superhero" we were talking about before we went.
Yes.
Yeah, and that then played on that station for about a year, and then kind of I have a rapport with them now that when I make a new song, I send it directly to them, and I say, "Hey, if this works for you, go ahead and play it." I also try really hard to think about my audience, that the songs I'm writing, sometimes you're making things fully from your heart, and sometimes thinking about radio stations and how you want to make money, it's a hard compromise to make sometimes, and I try really hard sometimes. When I make a compromise, I'm actually doing 200% of things. So if I know that probably there should be a Thanksgiving song that plays, that maybe right at the beginning I did it. When I first started my career, I wasn't like, I'm going to write a Thanksgiving song. But when you realize that there's kind of a hole in programming, and knowing that maybe you can fill that hole, then can you figure out the way that you want to. So like seeing how you fit into the landscape, and then doing your best creative work to fill that it's like, oh, we need this wall painted, but let me paint it the color that I want, and let me draw a cool design. There you go. So that's the way I think about kind of monetizing, is to especially on like Spotify and things like that. People are looking for certain things. So maybe you want to fill that. Maybe you want to play some cover songs or something that people will search for a song, and then they'll see your cover, and then they'll listen to the rest of your music.
Right.
To try and make yourself kind of known, and thinking about what audiences are looking for. Maybe make that content as well as the content that comes straight from your heart, so that people can kind of have an entry point.
Right. I get that. And it's kind of been my journey has been similar, because I was with a band called Square One for many, many years. And that's really where I built that's where the foundation of my career started. And we did a lot of live performances. We started out as a hotel band. So we were playing like 6-7 nights a week.
Yeah.
Different hotels. A lot of times we were like bored to death, because
every night, right?
Yeah, because it was like three.
Those are the songs that work.
There was 3 people in the audience, and when you're done, 2 people left, and one person comes, "Oh, it was so great. You were wonderful. Oh my gosh."
I love that.
Yeah. Okay. But it was for us, it was a fertile learning ground. It was a way for us to, I think we learned discipline. We also learned, we also got a really wide and varied repertoire, because we were playing mostly for tourists. So we had to play, some island songs, the Yellow Bird and the Beautiful Barbados, but we could still play like some funky, the upbeat soca music. And that was before we started making music. And then once we started making music, we actually went into the club circuit. So then we were playing covers. So we were playing covers of, just about everything, whatever was popular at the time.
Yeah.
So I learned to be able to sing, basically, all kinds of stuff.
For sure. I also find even in learning cover songs is a great way to be a good songwriter, that you start learning sort of the tricks that other songwriters have done before. And then you kind of are adding more color to your palette, and you're like, oh, this chord change can happen here. That's good to know. Maybe I'll sort of mix that in at some point.
Right. I like that. And I've co-written a few things. Excuse me. I haven't done a lot of writing, but I do want to do more.
Cool.
I do want to do more. So maybe you can give me some tips.
Well, write what's true to you.
Yeah, definitely.
You have a story to tell for sure, Alison.
I think I do. I think I do. So I'll have to explore that a little bit more.
For sure.
Yeah. But what else was I gonna ask you? I had something else in my head to ask you. And I think I might take the opportunity to see if there are any questions out there.
Oh, people are saying hi. That's nice. Hey, everybody.
Yeah, everybody says hi.
Everybody says hi. Well, if anybody has any questions about
right, and we have
doing artist work, we're also going to bring on the rest of the band in a little bit, who are all incredible artists as well, and they'll have their stories to tell as well. I mean, they play in my band. I mean, I could speak about being a band leader to different artists. I mean, that is a major part as well. That if you want to be a band leader, if you want your name at the top of the bill, you have to learn how to be a boss as well. Which is definitely part of making it in the music industry. Is you are the CEO of your company, and
yes, you are.
And if you're doing well, you're going to have employees, and you need to learn how to treat them fairly. And which to me means generally, when people work, they should get paid. When people come to a rehearsal, they should get paid. If it's your project, if it's a band, if you decide, oh, we're going to start a band, I would talk upfront to people. This is a band. We each have 25% of this. Who knows if it's ever going to make money? But having those conversations early on really helps out later. For me, I've been in bands that has gone well, but the best thing for me has always been that I am in charge of this thing. That you are. Like if you're not making much money and you find players that will understand that I try always to pay people for rehearsal and things that even if it's not much, but to show that you're respecting their time, and you're investing in yourself if you're investing in them and helping you have your business and career grow. So treating them fairly, and then having a rate that you pay people for shows, which might mean at some points you lose money on shows. That if it's X amount of money, that's what they get paid. And you are investing in yourself, and you are building something that when a larger gig comes in, that's when you can you can take a bunch off the top. When a larger gig comes in, I try to also make sure my band is getting paid at least a little bit more. Right. But that's when it's the years of investment that you put in, when that big gig comes in, that you can really charge what the rate is that you've been wanting to charge. Now you get that check. So, and then trying to get as many of those a year as you can.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that musicians really need to be respected for what they do. Sure. Whether they're session musicians, whether they are your permanent band. And actually the dynamic here and in the region, and we have many people joining us from all over the region. Oh my God, dog, can you move?
Oh, that's so sweet.
She's like, come on.
No problem right now. He's so great.
I want to be. Sapphire, if you jump in this bed.
I'm seeing a question here. What are the biggest difficulties we face as an artist?
Right.
And Sapphire.
There's my dog. That's Sapphire.
Okay,
Sapphire,
I would say
be in this.
Oh.
Come on. Come, get him.
One of the biggest difficulties is when you're doing a live stream and your dog jumps up and starts licking your face.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love her, but you know.
Gary, thank you so much for the question. I would say probably one of the biggest difficulties as an artist, as a children's artist, to make it kind of personal. Here's the truth: as a children's artist, you lose your fans because they're no longer children.
Well, yeah, that's true.
And
you have new kids coming along all the time, though.
Constant, yeah, and also so there's positive and negative to that. That people, like yesterday, some people, there were a few actual people who are from New York and they came to the show. But a good thing about my career is that people will come to something because this is going on. So I imagine also just that a soca artist is in town and letting people know that, oh, this music is going to be here. So kind of also promoting what is happening, including promoting yourself. So letting people know that this concert is happening for kids and families. It's going to be a wonderful memory for kids and families to have together, and promoting that just as much as myself, because families will come to that because it sounds like a great thing to do on a Sunday afternoon.
Right.
And kind of right now maintaining a fan base is very hard because people take in content and it leaves very quickly, that because the way that we're taking in YouTube videos and Spotify and listening to music and maybe listening to a whole album, but a new album and a new YouTube video comes out all the time. So I think one of the biggest difficulties is that, like, I would spend 2 years before I'd put out a new album, but that's too long. People want to hear what's new. So I've started figuring out ways to make YouTube videos and to make music cheaper that I can reach people and quicker. So sometimes we'll put out an album, but also just going live and singing songs for your audience and letting them know you're still here, and asking them if they have any questions or anything like that, that people feel more connected to you. So it's a different time now that it's not spend a few years to make an album and thousands of dollars and try to be famous that way. It's always kind of grassroots and reaching people directly as much as you can, and having people have a parasocial relationship where we're friends. It might be through the screen. It might be that a new song comes out every couple of weeks, but we are friends. And on that note, I would love to bring in the rest of my band. Is that okay?
That would be good.
Oh, great, cool. Because I'm going to say, and the rest of my band is going to talk. They are incredible artists who do so much work outside of being part of Tim and the Space Cadets. So they can talk about their teaching and also their touring. My friend Chip has done a lot of touring and can speak a lot to that. So let's bring them on. We'll start off by bringing in Diana Lawrence. Are we going one by one? This is it's Diana Lawrence. Diana Lawrence, incredible keyboard player for Tim and the Space Cadets, but also an incredible teaching artist and a songwriter for her own band, as well as a songwriter for musical theater. Hi, Diana.
Hi, everybody.
And we'll bring out the next one. Let's bring out Chip Thomas. There's Chip Thomas. Chip and I have played in a number of bands together and have traveled together. And Chip is an incredible drummer and songwriter as well, a pop songwriter and an R&B songwriter. And Chip has toured a bunch and can speak a lot to that, and is the drummer of Tim and the Space Cadets.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
And one more, this might throw everybody for a loop a little bit, because this is the tap dancer of the band. It's Felipe Galgani. Hey,
Hello.
Felipe.
Hey, everyone.
I love that shirt, Felipe.
Wow, I'm always on, expressing.
You are always expressing. Felipe, a tap dancer. So tap is a dance form, but it's also a music form that Felipe adds so much sound to the show, and is a tap dancer in New York City, a tap dancer and a teacher. And Diana, Chip, and Felipe have all built incredible careers and can speak to all of that. So are we ready to all hang out? I'm gonna say goodbye so Diana, Chip, and Felipe can talk about all their respective careers. But Alison, thank you so much for your time, and everybody, thank you so much for watching.
And thank you for being a part of this, Tim. We appreciate it. So yes, so now we have the Space Cadets. So who do I want to start with? Actually, I want to start with Diana.
Well, hello.
Hi, Diana.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad to be here.
Good.
I'm honored to be here with you. I mean, you're the queen of soca. We're really excited to be able to talk with you today.
Thank you. How has your trip been so far?
It's been amazing.
Yeah.
It's been amazing for so many reasons. I was listening in on what Tim was saying, but just that, firstly, Barbados is beautiful and the people are amazing. And I mean, it's been an amazing experience to travel here. And I'm sure it would be at any time, any year. But this particular year at this time, to have a chance to play for people and interact with people in a way that is not happening. It's not possible for it to happen where we come from, where we are in the States right now. And so to be able to be here and do this, I mean, we could do a conversation like this, it's great that we can do this and people all over the world can access it. I mean, that is a silver lining of this moment, is that in some ways access is more open to the conversations like this. But the person to person, audience to performer connection that we live for is just so limited right now. And being able to do something and see somebody across the room or across the space react to it and smile, or a kid dance because of the beat that you're playing is something really special. And being here and doing that has just made my year.
That is very awesome. I'm really happy. I mean, we're so glad to have you all here. And yes, we are very lucky as artists and musicians here right now to, excuse me, to be able to perform for live audiences. I've done a few. We've been having events here in Barbados, small events, but events nonetheless. And so it was really good it's always good to have that interaction with live audiences, because that's what we as artists live for. How about you, Chip? Tell me what your experience has been like so far here in Barbados.
Yeah, I mean, Diana said it very well, so I'll echo everything that she just said. It's been magic, but I think Diana's right. Being able to be here in such a beautiful paradise and feel safe and be able to perform and do what we love. We haven't, done it in 7 months, which is the longest probably any of us have not performed since we became musicians, right? So we're talking years upon years. And we were rehearsing the night before, and since we didn't really have access to a studio at the time last week, we were rehearsing in Tim's room, which you saw. I mean, all the rooms are the same in the hotel. And I was playing drumsticks on pillows and tables and things like that. And for a moment, I had a small sense of dread, saying, do I remember how to do this, right? I think I remember how to do this. But luckily, as soon as we started performing in front of an audience, it just snapped right back to us. And it's beautiful. So it's wonderful to be here and wonderful to be able to do what we love in a place that I now have completely fallen in love with. So Tim is staying. I'm also staying. We're not sure for how long, but I couldn't find myself to leave yet. So I'm sure I'll be seeing you soon in person. Excited.
That's very awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. Felipe, talk to me.
Yes.
Talk to me, Felipe.
What do you want to know?
Latino.
Yes, that's me. Exactly. You defined me. It has been really wonderful. Here is such a magical place. It's beautiful. The energy is wonderful. It's so great being close to the kids and being able to entertain and actually see, as Diana said, see their reaction and their eyes, shining. And then I love doing it. And I do work with a lot of adults, and even when I perform in jazz clubs, and so it's more like an adult vibe. But I love doing this because I have this inner child that wants to come out very often, and so I'm able to really go for it. You know what I mean, and dance and have fun, and so it has been great.
Awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. So I want to throw out there to whoever wants to take this particular question in terms of touring and touring experience. And I know all of you have touring experience like myself. What are the things that you would tell an emerging artist who has some music under their belt And well, obviously after this, because there's really no touring happening right now for any artist that I know of. But in your past experiences, in terms of touring and contracts and all those things, those little things that we need to know, what tips would you give to an emerging artist who maybe doesn't have a manager as yet to be able to take care of certain things? What would you advise that they really need to know, in addition to them creating their music? But what do they need to know in terms of the business side and what goes into putting together a tour?
Yeah, I can start, and I'm sure these guys will follow up with some great answers as well. But Tim was doing an interview yesterday. We were all doing one, and something he said really resonated with me. He said, being an artist, if you can make it, really is a full-time job. It's not just about creating the music and practicing and doing the music side of things. The business element is just as important, sometimes more important, right? So until you can get to the point where you have a full team who gets to take care of all that administrative and the contract work and the travel and everything that goes with it, you just have to do it, and that's really just as important. And look, I as a touring artist, I'm sure Tim would say the same thing. It'd be great if we could just, get on a plane and everything's taken care of. But it's rare that I'd say the majority of the gigs that I've still done, I was telling Diana this the other day, are, I'm just playing the show, my band or another band's playing the show, and the only people in the audience are the other band that's waiting for you to get off the stage. So even though I've played in front of thousands upon thousands of people, I still think the majority of my shows are those. And don't get discouraged. Just keep grinding. But it takes a tremendous amount of work and dedication, but it's very possible. So I'd also say, if you're touring, bring flip-flops and slippers. That's key. Flip-flops and slippers.
I agree. I actually agree.
Yeah, know what you need. Like, yeah. I need tea. Like having like the tea that I like with me, because like there's hotels don't have good tea, and like I need my tea, and so I put it in my suitcase. I always have like a little packet of like my favorite tea in my suitcase, ready to go. And I found it there when I went on this trip, to my surprise, because even though we haven't been traveling a lot, I'm like, well, my tea is here. But I think knowing what you need, and I mean, as far as being your own tour, sort of, if you're the one booking and planning, if you're the one who's also heading up the tour and managing it, making that all happen, I think think farther in advance than you would ever think you'd have to. There's also that, like, being like, well, think about this, maybe like, where do you want to be a year from now? You might want to think that far, maybe farther in advance, and start investigating, like, where do you want to go, or who do you want to work with, or what's sort of your pie in the sky, what's your dream as far as your projects that you want, and start reaching out and start planning. I feel like some of what makes us successful as musicians can be like being good in the moment and being reactive and being creative, like on the spot, and reacting to an inspiration that we have and going and writing that thing. But to do the business aspect of it, I have to train the part of my brain that thinks big and back, like way far back, and planning out from there, and having that sort of practical aspect. And the networking aspect of it, where you're like, who do I want to work with? Not just what kind of work do I want to do, but who do I respect, or who do I love, who do I look up to, who matches well with what I do, or what I want to be doing, and then start making those connections and figuring out how do I build from there to showing up on a tour or on a gig, maybe 2 months or 6 months or a year or a couple years from now.
That's good info. What about you?
I am gonna give you this insight. Actually, it wasn't it. It actually happened right before the pandemic hit. I was hired to play in this gala in New York, and everything was set, and I had my musician with me. I had my set ready to play. I was tap dancing. Was going to be great. Then, right on, like 3 days before, the pandemic hit it, and then I couldn't do anything. And I didn't get any deposit from that gig. So that's a very like practical tip. Like if you are the one booking, you know, and that has never happened to me because it never cancels usually, you know, everything happens, you know. But in this case, it was canceled. I didn't have any deposit, so I couldn't, you know, my musician and I, we were like, okay, this is canceled. So I would say like get a deposit, make a contract. You know, even if it's an informal contract, you are the one booking. Make the person that is hiring you sign it, just so you have some kind of structure there.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
Absolutely.
Here,
And you know, the contract, even if it's a very simple one, it's 3 sentences. It's that warm blanket to keep everyone protected and safe. It's meant to protect both entities. So if anyone has an issue with that, then that is a big red flag.
Yeah.
here, and I find that here, and in Barbados, in general, when I tour, and I'm touring all over the world, my contract says 50% deposit up front. Otherwise, there's no show if there's no deposit. You haven't confirmed with me that there's a booking. So until that deposit shows up, excuse me, until that deposit shows up, there's no confirmation that yes, I am coming to do that show. And then on top of that, once I have landed in whatever city or country or island that I make sure and get my balance before I go on stage. Before. There are times when I'm not even leaving the hotel until I get that balance in hand, because there have been times, and I'm sure that every musician, every artist has had an incident where the promoter was like, okay, yeah, no problem, I'll pay you as soon as you're done. As soon as you're done, and then you go do your thing, you're finished, and no, you can't find the promoter. The promoter is nowhere to be found. The number you were getting them on all the time no longer has a connection. Like, it's, you know, they become just a breeze in the wind. And so a contract, as Chip correctly said, is that soft, that comfortable place to at least you can put, and you need to put everything in there. Whatever it is that you need, whatever you wish, it has to be in that contract. And you also need writers. You need, not only do you need your stage writer, depending if you use a band, whatever your setup is, they need to know that whatever equipment needs to be provided. Your backstage writer, your dressing room writer, what do you want in your room? What do you know, I mean, we all know that the mega superstars, you know, want a furry rug in pink with purple polka dots, and, you know, a lily white couch, and, you know, lilies, and the whole.
I mean, so do I, though. So
Yeah,
do
of
I.
course.
So, you know,
of course. That's what I ask for all the time.
yeah.
But a backstage writer is also important, because you want what you want that's going to make you comfortable, that's going to allow you to be able to get into that space, that when you're ready to go on stage, that you're like, okay, yes, I have my whatever, I have my tea, as Diana likes, I have my tea, or I have my wine, or I have my whatever it is, and that puts me where I need to be so that I can go do what. And we as artists also need to make that make people understand that it's important. It's not just that you're indulging the artist in this. This is something that we need for us to be able to give you the best possible performance that we can give. So I'm happy to hear everybody here really understand that and get that through to you know, any of the emerging artists that may be listening, wherever they are in the region and in the world right now, locked on to this panel and to this chat, to you know, just the little tips. There's things that are quite important. Now, I spoke to Tim about monetization, etc. But we didn't really get into copyright and, you know, your intellectual property and things like that. So how would you what advice and what information would you give to those who are locked on right now, who are, you know, trying to navigate this business?
Yeah, I mean, such a massive question. I can speak to it sort of for what's going on in the States, but what actually I was going to say one thing about touring, which I think translates as well to this question. If you can find a team or anyone to help you, you know, I would recommend going with someone who's established in doing what you're looking for, whether it's booking or copyright information, an attorney, right, a management, or someone who's really just like kind of hungry, really hungry, and maybe new and green to the business. And by green, I mean new, but they're very passionate and they want to learn and they're going to work really hard for you. And maybe you can't pay them a ton, but you can give them, you know, percentage or something. So as you grow as an artist, you can, you know, pay that person who helped you get there and make it up for them. You know, like small businesses, they give stock options or percentage stakes in companies and things like that. And I think that, you know, we're all small businesses as well. So something like that, if someone really helps you get to a really another sort of level, they should be rewarded for that. So, but on the copyright side, do research. Understand what's going on currently in Barbados or the States or wherever you are, and you know, just continue to do that work. So I would say starts with research, but you know, we're somewhat fortunate in the States because there are companies that you can hire that will do that for you. And you know, I'm not sure what's going on in Barbados, but it seems like it's a really big topic of discussion. So I would say research, and you know, talk to advocates. But you know, we can't keep making art if we're not getting paid for the art, and we need to be paid for any time our music is played or performed, and that is really just something that should be non-negotiable. So I also try to live by what I say. You know, I try to purchase other people's music, and if someone invites me to their show, I try to, you know, maybe give some donation in the tip jar or pay for the ticket. I find that really, if you pay it forward that way, that can help, because you know, just because you can get a guest pass doesn't mean you shouldn't pay for it somehow, right?
Oh, Alison, you're on mute.
Sorry, yeah, I realized. I realized I was muted just
2020 hashtag
yeah,
you're on mute.
yeah. And I just fell off and came back, but you know.
I'm glad you're back. No, we were. Yeah, I think that's all great to hear, Chip. I feel like and thinking about it on both sides of it, like how do you both ask for that respect of your work and of your copyright, and make sure that you are respecting others. Like if you know, understanding what it means to pay, like if you cover a song and record it, or then there are ways in the States to look up who owns that copyright and make sure that you pay for it, because when you record and release something that somebody else wrote, you need to compensate that person for their work. You made the recording, it's your audio, it's your master, but it's somebody else's intellectual property. And in the States, we talk about, you know, like the writer's share and the publisher's share, these different part in the mechanical licensing, these different terms that I've learned just by researching, like Chip said, and I'm still researching. Mm-hmm. What do those things mean? Because you can own the recording, but not own the song. And you can also own the publishing, meaning the right to, like maybe you sign a publishing deal, you might give publishing over to a company that will then disseminate and help you get your work out there. But then if payment comes through for that, you share some of your copyright with them because of that. As you know, for anybody out there, as you learn about some of this, the one thing, like the one unbreakable rule that I was told is you never sell your writer's share. And that's about how copyright works, at least in the States. That you're the part of your writing that is about you as a composer, you as a songwriter. Don't let anybody take that from you. And there's all sorts of weird horror stories in music lore about people letting that go. So don't do that. The other thing that I'm learning this year, is what happens when live performance. There's a whole infrastructure in the States, at least, for supporting, for getting copyright to you or getting support to you when you're performing something live, or say you perform a cover song in a club, the person who wrote that song should get credit because of, or should get some money for it because of the way the club pays money to the royalty gatherers in the U.S. And in the U.S. that's ASCAP and BMI and a few other companies. But in this moment, so much is streamed, and then it becomes this weird crossover with the way that people are compensated for video. And video is different than audio, and audio is different than radio.
Right.
And these are things that I've had to research. And it is complicated, and it's unfortunate how complicated it is. You want to be able to understand it more easily. But it's worth doing. There's some great web resources out there. And we talk about this amongst ourselves as artists too. I think it's good to just talk to people about what they know, and don't be ashamed of what you don't know. And have conversations with people and so that you understand how to protect your intellectual property and how to respect others.
Yeah, just to put a quick bow on it, I'm sure Felipe has some great insights, so I don't want to step on him, but understanding the difference, Diana just talked about it really eloquently, the difference between the recorded song and the song itself. So think of the recorded song as like the record or the entity, right? So that's called a master, so a master recording. And then there's something called a sync, and that is the actual song. So I might own the rights to a song, and Diana might want to do a cover of that song, and she records that cover. She owns that master, the recorded cover song, but she doesn't own the song itself, that the melody and the lyrics and the song that I created. I'm just giving an example of that. Understanding master versus sync is I'd say like sort of step one with basic understanding of recorded music and songwriting.
Thank you. That is actually very valuable information, because we do have, as I mentioned earlier, we do have COSCAP here, which is our copyright entity, and they do cover live performances as well. I am very remiss in, because I'm a member of COSCAP, and I'm very remiss in submitting my live performances so that I could, but I can do that. Wherever I perform my music, I can submit that to COSCAP, and I can receive royalties for that, because that's play. Any events, any places that have events here, COSCAP needs to be you need to get a license from COSCAP to be able to play music in public, because as you said, we as the artists, the writers, the producers, we need to be compensated for that. All of that is residuals that comes to us. And I have some of my songs that are registered. There are some that aren't. There are a lot that aren't, and I need to make sure and I get those songs registered, because I have a lot of songs, and they're played, all the radio play and ads and all those different things. Although there are some things that work differently here than they do in the U.S., but we do have, I think we do have quite a few savvy musicians and entertainers and so on, that we have learned a lot over the past 10, 15 years about copyright and how we should go about it. I can't speak for all over the region. I know there are some places. Trinidad has their copyright company as well, that I can't remember. It's called oh gosh, I don't remember it right now. But Trinidad does have a copyright excuse me, entity, and I know some of the other islands do. I don't know if all of them have, and I don't know how active their groups are, but I know for sure in Barbados we definitely do have an active copyright group, and they represent a lot of artists, a lot of musicians, and just trying to make sure that we get what needs to come to us for what we have created. So for those who are locked on and watching and listening and who want to get into this business, it is a business. There is a lot to learn beyond just recording a song and creating a video and putting it out there on YouTube or putting it out on, you know, whatever platform. There's a lot of stuff that a lot of due diligence, I would say, that also needs to be taken care of around and behind that music for you to be able to receive not only your pay in terms of live performances, but also to get whenever your song is played on the radio and played online and all of that. So I'm really thankful to all of y'all for, you know, being here and giving this valuable information, because we all need it. We all need it. I still have stuff that I need to work on. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna check on you in a week, Alison. I want all those songs registered. All right.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna
There you
make
go.
sure. I need to get on that. I absolutely need to get on that, because I'm missing out on money. Like, who needs to miss out on money, especially in this kind of time?
That's right.
Well, Tim was talking about, it's a real, like, you do have to be a business person. It's part of this. If you want to do a professional trajectory of this, you have to, if you want to pursue a professional trajectory, you have to think of yourself as a business person, and also like think like, well, what is it that you're in this for, right? Is like, if you're like, man, I just want to have total control. I want to do this when and how I want. And I want I don't care if it's all I'm doing all the time, and maybe doing it all the time and having to deal with the business aspects of it is not for you, and it's fine. And it's fine to have another thing that you're pursuing for your to pay your rent, and then you get to do music exactly how you want when you want. I asked myself that question, and I realized, well, if I was trying to have something else pay my rent, I would never do that, because I'd be doing music all the time, because that's just what I do. So I probably should figure out how to have that pay my rent. Otherwise I'll be in trouble. Like, so that was the conversation I had to have. Like, I am doing this all the time. Should probably figure out how to do it for a living. But I feel like it's important to see, like, well, what is going to make me happy, and where's my mission in this? And then if you tie everything back to sort of the mission, like, so what am I doing that makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing with my time on the planet? Like, it helps me stay grounded, even when the business stuff or other aspects of the career can make you feel unhinged, particularly when, like, most of your career is dormant because of a international pandemic. You have to say, what's my mission? Why am I here? What will keep me grounded and remind me that we can all get through this, because the love for this will continue beyond the pandemic.
Absolutely. I could not have said it better. It definitely, this is a tough time for creatives, and anybody in the arts right now, not really being able to do what you love the way that you truly want to be able to do it. I've been doing virtual performances, a lot of virtual performances in my house, and it's obviously very different because you don't have a live audience in front of you. So that's where I have to draw on my experiences and imagine that I'm on stage and I see these thousands of people in front of me, and what would I do and what would I say, and you know, there's an audience there. I just can't see and feel them, but I have to act as though I do. So it's very different. It's very, very different, but it's you know, it's what we have to do right now. So tell me what you feel in terms of managers, because there are I know there's all kinds of experiences, good and bad, that musicians have had with managers and management and so on. What would be your advice in terms of what would you look for in a good manager or management team? Like, what would be the things for an artist to look for that they can feel comfortable to say, well, okay, yes, I feel good about this person or these people managing that was Siri, managing your career?
Quickly on that, I've worked with a couple of different managers with a few different projects, and I'd say it's kind of like a doctor, get a referral, right?
Right.
Talk to someone who's worked with this person or entity before and get information there. If you can't, do your due diligence. But sort of what I was saying earlier about putting a team together, go with someone who's super established and really done it before, or really, really hungry. Even if it's a friend who has no background in this whatsoever, but they love your music. They're so passionate about it. They want to help in any way you can, and you trust their judgment and know that they're going to fight really hard for you and learn on the fly. Go that route too. I would certainly say those things. I know we have a question or two, and we only got a couple of minutes left, but just hi everyone from all over the world. So glad to be here and glad you're with us. Lennox, what up? Everybody, Gary, we see all you guys.
No, I would agree that with management or with anybody that's sort of supporting you in what you're doing, I feel like you have to be able to, a referral helps a lot, but also sometimes people won't really be interested in you unless you're already sort of bringing in enough business that they're like, well, you've already built it up yourself enough, and now I'm going to come along. Now that you're comfortable and you've done a lot of hard work, I'm going to come along and be a part of what you're doing. And you just have to be careful about you have built something. And if you're going to invite others in to share your work, make sure it's somebody that's really believes in what you're doing, and make sure it's somebody that understands what you're doing and understands what you value and what you don't. So that they are going to help you get to a level that maybe you couldn't without them. But I mean, it's also a good time for independent artists. It's also a good time for being someone who gets to call the shots. I know a lot of folks who are not going in the direction of a record label right now, or not going in the direction of management right now, or not because they can get to people directly through social media or through Spotify or other streaming platforms. They're going straight to their audiences or straight to sometimes their gigs and bookers when that is a thing that we do. But it's interesting to see that there's in some ways a lot of power to independent artists and up and coming artists if you know how to reach out yourself and represent yourself well.
Here to that. I'm just want to absolutely. You don't need a label. You don't need a manager. You don't need a booking agent. You don't need an accountant. You don't need a business manager. You just need to learn and know what you're doing. It's an amazing time. Technology allows us. I mean, I can create art with a microphone, a drum kit, and a laptop, which I'm looking at you from right here. I mean, it's an amazing time that it's affordable to make music, and that's incredible. That was not the case 5, 10, 15 years ago.
Hashtag unmute 2020, Alison.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I just went.
We have a saying that the phrase of the year is "you're muted." Hashtag "you're muted."
Yep.
It's like we've all said it a billion
Hashtag
times
you're
this year.
Yep. Hashtag unmute.
Yeah.
So there's a question from Gary. He says, he's asked, if you have an inspirational word, what would it be to inspire the public if they are passionate about being an artist? And are there any other things, or if there's any other things that they desire? So if you have an inspirational word, what would it be to inspire the public if they are passionate about being an artist? And are there any other things that you might desire?
I'm putting Felipe on the spot.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to say the same thing.
I'm on the spot. I think a word, I don't know. I think for me, I would say perseverance. You gotta persevere in this because it's challenging and we all have to pay our dues, and I think that's what we were talking about. I mean, yes, you gotta, if you know the management, but if you don't, you gotta just go and put your face there and do it if that's what you want to, and things will happen. But you gotta persevere. You gotta wake up every day, and you gotta, create your show. I'm a dancer and choreographer. In my case, like I create my own opportunities all the time. I'm always booking shows for myself, and I have to charge because how I'm gonna pay? I like to dance with musicians usually. And if I don't, because I had one project that I was doing it was only me on stage. I had this 1 hour set that I was talking about things and had a bunch of acting and dancing, singing, everything connected, and I had to pay myself too. Do you know? So it's like paying the dues, and doing what you love. It doesn't come easy. It's like every profession, being an artist, it's like being a doctor. There's no difference.
I
We gotta
like
work.
that.
We work
Yeah.
I
hard.
like that a lot. Go ahead, Chip.
I was thinking, so Gary, by the way, thank you you've been firebombing us with great questions. So thank you for being so attentive and making us also think. I think for me, I think of the word student, right? Where you never stop learning, right? There's no best drummer or best tap dancer or best songwriter or best, keys player or anything well, maybe Prince is probably the answer to all those. So unless you're Prince, never stop learning. And just enjoy being a student, enjoy that learning, and the other word I was thinking of is versatility. If this pandemic has taught me anything, it's that, I'm a drummer, but I also work on electronic drums, and I learned how to songwrite. I'm just teaching myself how to play trumpet, which I'm terrible at. I'm not going to demonstrate. And I learned how to DJ this summer because I was able to do some outdoor pool parties. So I'd say versatility is certainly key. So if you play one instrument, try to be proficient in different ways, different types of music, different instruments, all those things. So I'd say being a student and then versatility for me.
And you, Diana.
I was right there. I love all those words. If I were to add a word, I would add confidence. And that for me goes maybe very specifically to emerging artists, and maybe even more specifically to folks who are groups who are less represented, to women and people of color. Like, I think it's just much harder sometimes to present yourself in front of those who are in leadership positions who might or might not look like you. And to be able to show up and say, this is who I am, and I am good, and I deserve these things. And you list them off, and then you say, this is what I need to do my thing. And you want me, I'm good. And to be able to do that, especially when you're entering the field, is difficult. When you're building your portfolio, and you need that perseverance and you need that versatility to be able to do those things. But being able to stand up and say, this is who I am, and I have something to contribute, and wake up every day and remind yourself of that, even when the world isn't always telling you that. Being able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, yeah, this is what I should be doing.
Yes, Diana. This is the virtual mic drop. Bam.
There you go.
Yeah,
So good. So true.
I love that. I love all of those answers. So I need to come up with a word now too, don't I? Okay, all right. I think that my word would be contribution, because this is what we do. What we do is we contribute to society and to keeping people, we help to keep people sane. Our contributions, our music, our dance, our art, our pictures, our everything. We help people to, especially in this time of this pandemic, when people are shut up inside their houses and they can't get out and do stuff. They can't, just go to the park. They can't go to a bar. They can't socialize with their friends like they would really want to. But what we do helps them to be able, it takes them out of their present space and takes them somewhere where their imagination can run and where they can just be happy for a little while. When you hear your favorite song or you see your favorite artist performing, it gives you this warm feeling inside, and you just let go, and you forget where you are for a little while. And so that would be, my word would be contribution, because our contribution is extremely important. Even though we may not be considered an essential service, I think that we are an essential service, because when it comes to people's mental health, especially around what's happening now, we can help with that. We can help people to rise up a little bit, to feel a little bit happier, to feel a bit more comfortable with themselves. And that's how I feel.
Yeah, Alison, you just, I mean, here to all that. So much fire in this call right now. I love it. Also because we're artists, we're very emotional beings. We give our heart out on stage, and when we're writing music, I think also understanding self-care. We're sensitive artists, we're very emotional. So, making sure that we take the time we need. That might be away from songwriting or performing or decompressing after a tour. That's a big thing for me, is coming down from touring, where it's, the ultimate high and rush can be really a hard transition for me to go back home and just kind of be in my place. So I now know that, and I try to transition a bit and go easy on myself and be soft, and tell my family, friends, and my loved ones that I might need a minute, and that's okay. So self-care for us is incredibly important. We help people through our music and our art, get through their day or have a wedding, and use our music, and it's beautiful. We help them get through hard times, but we also need to help ourselves get through our own hard times as well.
I agree. I completely agree. All right, so there doesn't seem to be any more questions that are coming through. So what I would like is for everyone to give me a little wrap up of, what you feel right now, and what you would like to share with the people that are logged on right now. I think we'll start with Felipe this time, and we'll work our way around. So Felipe,
Here,
my
my love.
lovely Latino, I love you.
I love you too. I can't believe we didn't meet. I want to dance with you.
Listen,
Take me.
I'm here. I am here, Felipe. I'm here.
Tim, we're gonna. So Tim and I will dance with Alison, and we'll FaceTime you, so you're with her. And Tyler also always invited, so that will make it work.
I'm very jealous. My homeboys are staying. First of all, I want to say thank you. This opportunity is great. It was such a pleasure talking with you, Alison, and also people that are at home now. Thank you so much for showing up. The U.S. Embassy, of course, it has been a pleasure. Tim, much love. What I want to say is that I believe, and we were talking about that music and dance, those are healing, tools that we have. So if you're feeling, down, low, like play your song, dance at home. I do it all the time. You know what I mean? Sing out loud in the shower. Watch your inspirations, and don't stop dreaming, and manifesting those things. Because, if I'm here today in Barbados, it's because I dreamed, it's because, like, when growing up in Brazil, like, I didn't know tap dance very well. And suddenly then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to New York. I sold my car. I came to New York. You know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do my show. I'm going to do it. And now I'm here, sharing my experience. And with this, like, learning, I learned so much in the store. Like, I feel so, it's really a hashtag blast. I'm blessed. And so that's what I have to say. Keep dreaming. It's a good thing. We got this.
Thank you, Felipe. That was so awesome. So awesome. I
love you too.
Okay, Chip, talk to me, Chip.
I mean, I'm completely lost in the world of Felipe right now. So I don't even remember what the question was because it just was all the best, all good stuff. So we might need to start over because that was just the way that it is.
Yeah, Felipe is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just kind of recap our conversation and my time, reflecting on my time here, which is thankfully not coming to an end. But you know, being able to perform live in front of people with people that I care about and love, it's been the best week of my 2020 by far, and I don't want it to end. Sadly, it's coming to end, but as soon as we log off, we may have some food and maybe a cocktail or two. And we're going to celebrate our time, or 3 or 4 or 20. We're going to celebrate our time together and reflect on it. It's going to be our kind of last supper. But what's great is I have full confidence that we'll be back together, the 4 of us coming back here as soon as humanly possible. So Embassy, bring us back, or just bring, you know, Tim and I are staying here, so just bring Felipe and Diana back, and let's do this like next week. So you know, it's been amazing. But yeah, just keep working hard, follow your dreams, and they certainly can come true. We're a perfect example of that. You know, I didn't come from a lot. We just worked really hard, and instead of, you know, going out with friends, maybe we you know, wrote a song or something like that. And yeah, it's I wouldn't have it any other way. So thank you, everyone. Alison, it's been wonderful. I can't wait to actually meet you in person. And if you need a drummer, I got your back. So.
No problem. No problem. Thank you so much, Chip. I appreciate you. Diana.
I gotta be the closer. No, Alison's gonna be the closer. But well, I'll echo everyone else's thanks to the Embassy and to you, Alison, and to, you know, to Barbados, of the fact that we got to get to know this place and Bridgetown and so many wonderful people while we've been here. In thinking about sort of this moment that we're in, I mean, I'm thinking about some of the things we talked about that, you know, Chip was saying we have to take care of ourselves. We have to think about self-care. I feel like we've talked a lot about how to be business people and how to, you know, how to direct your entrepreneurial music career. And at the same time, especially now, I have to tell myself, like, not pressuring myself to do and work is okay sometimes. Not to step back and say, like, this is a day or a moment or a minute when I can just sit and I can just be who I am. And I'll tell you, a beautiful beach in Barbados has been a great way to do that. But also wherever you are, being able to say, I am enough, even though the world isn't necessarily letting me do all the things I wish I could do maybe right now. And also back to what Alison was saying about essential workers. I feel like throughout my music career, you know, my parents, I love my parents. We have a great relationship. And throughout my career, they're a doctor and a teacher. Very practical people who looked at me saying, you want to do what with your, okay, how's that gonna, you know, they were very concerned. But they came around as I found my way and have been my biggest fans. And when I've kind of had moments of like, am I essential? I don't know. Like, sometimes this seems a little wishy-washy. Like, how do we even define what it is that we do? We make these things, they travel out into the air and people listen to them or don't. Like, what is it that I do? And my dad has said, well, I'm a doctor. You know, I save people's lives, but the reason I save people's lives is so they can hear your music. And so, like, that's why. And so being able to contextualize that, I mean, you know, hearing your dad say that, I'll tell you, is an amazing thing to hear. But that we get to design people's time. And their time is all of our biggest, best, most precious resource. And that is essential. And reminding ourselves of that as artists, that we get to design people's lives and make it beautiful, is that's what we do. We are essential.
We are. I absolutely love that, Diana. Absolutely. See, I don't have to say anything after that. But I will say, I wish that I had gotten to meet y'all at the beginning of the week and not at the end of it. But it happened that way. And I'm still glad that I at least got to meet y'all for a little bit. I am going to make sure and meet up with Tim and Chip before you guys, you know, go. So we're going to have to So we will make sure we will video call Felipe, and he has to be a part of it as well. And so does Diana, because um, I want to thank the U.S. Embassy for asking me to be a part of this panel and to be able to moderate. This is my first time moderating anything ever in life, so
It's not
really
easy.
happy.
It's not easy.
It's really not.
You did a great job. Thank
You're
you.
amazing.
Yeah, you killed it.
Thank
Killed
you.
it. Killed
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. So I have to say thank you to the U.S. Embassy for allowing me the opportunity to be able to do this. Thanks to everyone that logged on, that's watching, that's listening, that's taking in. I hope that you have taken in the information that has been freely given here via the U.S. Embassy on Facebook. And I want to say that I cannot wait to see what else is going to happen, because I believe in energy and vibe and that spirit, that your spirit kind of connects with like-minded spirits. And I know that I will see Felipe and Diana again at some point, sooner rather than later. If I have to come to New York and hunt you guys down, I will.
And you can certainly find Tim and all three of us on social media. We all have our work up there.
For sure.
So please stay in touch.
We'll make sure you can go to the embassy socials, and they have all of our information posted. So come talk with us. And you guys, so many people watching, if you're in Barbados, you might be my cousins, because my great grandparents were born here. So, so I have roots in Barbados. So hit me up, family.
Look at you. That's awesome. That is very, very awesome. So thank you guys. Thanks to Tim, of course. Oh, good. That's Gary.
Thank you, Gary, and everybody.
Thank you, Gary. Thanks to everyone who joined in. And I do hope that you really were able to get something out of the information that was given today. I hope that I get the opportunity to do this again with some more talented people. And all I can say is thank you for those of you who may not know my music. I'm online. Check my Instagram and Facebook and all of that good stuff. And I'm looking to diversify as well, and going the brand that is Alison Hinds. So you can look out for all of that good stuff. And what can I say? Diana, Chip, Felipe, thank you so much. I love you guys. And this is the first time, well, the second time really, technically, that we're meeting. And yes, we have all of that. Yep. Thank you guys so much. Thanks to U.S. Embassy. Thanks to everyone for joining. And I can't wait to do this again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Great, everyone.
Bye, guys. That was great.